The moment I flipped open my husband's leather wallet, the world didn't just break. It detonated. There, tucked behind his driver's license like a keepsake, meant to be kissed goodnight, was a glossy photograph of the man I married, pressing his lips against my best friend's mouth. Her hand tangled in his collar, his eyes half closed. A moment stolen in perfect, damning clarity. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even confront him. Instead, I walked into the nearest print shop and calmly said, 500 copies, please. Because if my marriage was going to burn, I wasn't going down alone. I used to believe betrayal had a sound. Something sharp, something shattering, like the clean snap of bone or the clatter of a dropped glass. But now I know it's silent. It slips in like a shadow, sits quietly beside you, and waits for you to notice. I was only searching for bus fare. That's what still haunts me. 2 hours earlier, my husband, Adam, had left in a hurry. A late meeting, he said. He tossed me his wallet because my bag had ripped and I needed small bills for the ride home. I set the wallet aside, completely forgetting about it until evening. Our apartment was unusually still that night. The ticking clock on the wall echoed like footsteps in an abandoned hallway. I remember the hum of the fridge, the faint traffic noise from the street below, even the faint smell of rain on the horizon. Normal things, ordinary things, until the world split open. The photo slid out when I pulled at the inner pocket, crisp, new, glossy. The kind of picture you deliberately choose to keep, not one taken accidentally. There they were, Adam's hand cupping Jenna's cheek, Jenna's eyes fluttering shut, their lips pressed together, intimate, intentional, devastating. My breath vanished. The air thickened, sticky, impossible to swallow. I stared at that frozen second, every detail sharpening like it wanted to carve itself into my memory forever. My ears rang. My pulse kicked harshly, a brutal rhythm in my throat. At first, I waited for the explanation to magically show itself. Maybe it was photoshopped, a prank, a misunderstanding. But the truth was obvious. The photograph was recent. Jenna's hair was the shade of honey blonde she dyed just last month. Adam wore the navy shirt I bought for his promotion dinner. The backdrop was unmistakable too. The Lantern Bar, the cozy place we used to visit on Fridays, where fairy lights draped the outdoor seating like scattered stars. They kissed in our place. That was what cracked something inside me. Not the betrayal, not the secrecy, but the fact that they took something sacred and made it theirs. I sat on the living room floor for a long time, the photo trembling between my fingers while I forced myself to breathe. I thought about the last conversation I'd had with Jenna just 2 days earlier. She had hugged me tight, laughing, complaining about life and work, promising we'd go on another girls' trip soon. I thought about Adam, how he kissed me goodbye that very morning, murmuring something about loving me, his thumb brushing my cheek like a man devoted. The lies were so well woven, I didn't even notice their weight until they crushed me. I didn't cry, though. Not yet. Tears require clarity. This moment was fire. Finally, with a calmness that didn't feel like mine, I slid the photo into my pocket and stood up. Rage didn't fill me. Despair didn't either. What came instead was a cold, meticulous focus, a storm with a surgeon's precision. If I wanted to play with my life, I could rewrite the rules. The print shop was still open when I stepped inside. The hum of machines, the warm smell of ink and paper, it felt almost surreal. A teenage boy behind the counter perked up, smiling with practiced politeness. Evening, what can I help you with? I placed the photograph on the counter like a weapon. I need 500 copies. He blinked. 500? Yes. He hesitated only a second before nodding. Sure thing. That'll take a few minutes. He didn't ask questions. He didn't need to. The picture spoke louder than any accusation I could have uttered. As the printer whirred to life, something strange happened. My heartbeat stabilized. My breathing evened. I watched sheet after sheet slide out. Each one a piece of truth, undeniable and sharp. 500 little bombs. 500 confessions. 500 reminders that I wasn't imagining things, wasn't overreacting, wasn't paranoid or dramatic. When he handed me the box full of neatly stacked copies, I felt an eerie sense of clarity settle over my shoulders. Rough day, he asked softly. I offered him a smile that probably unsettled him. You have no idea. Back home, I spread the photos across the dining table like tarot cards predicting the future. The glossy surfaces caught the overhead light, each one gleaming like a shard of glass. I thought about my next move. Confrontation? Too simple. Too merciful. Silence? Too painful. Too weak. No, I wanted the truth to echo, to ripple, to force its way into every corner where their lies had lived comfortably. But I wasn't ready to release the storm yet, because before anything else, I needed answers. Not from Adam, not from Jenna, but from myself. How'd I miss this? Where did the distance start? Was it the late meetings? The sudden, secretive texts? Jenna, canceling on me last minute for the past few months? Every memory twisted into something ugly, familiar moments poisoned by hindsight. The more I replayed it, the more the truth sharpened. They had been building a world behind my back, and I had unknowingly held the door open for them. When Adam returned home around midnight, I was still awake, still sitting at the table, the box of photos tucked out of sight. Rain had begun to fall outside, tapping lightly against the windows. He entered with that same practiced warmth in his eyes, shaking droplets from his jacket. "Hey, babe," he said, leaning in to kiss me. I turned my head. He paused, startled. "Everything okay?" I stared at him, really stared. At the familiar curve of his jaw, the stubble he always forgot to shave on Thursdays, the soft line between his brows when he was confused. A face I loved. A face I knew, or thought I knew. My voice came out steady. "Did you forget something at home today?" He blinked. "Not that I know of." "What?" I let the silence stretch until it was taut and humming. Then I forced a smile. A gentle one. A dangerous one. No reason. Just wondering. He shrugged, kissed my hair, and walked toward the bedroom. And as I watched him, a new thought flickered in the darkness. A thought both terrifying and electrifying. He had no idea what was coming. And tomorrow, neither would she. I didn't sleep that night. Adam fell asleep quickly, as he always did, his breathing settling into that steady, almost boyish rhythm I used to love falling asleep to. But tonight, it felt like lying beside a stranger who had placed a knife in my chest and walked away before realizing I hadn't died from it. I lay on my back, staring at the ceiling while the rain softened into a mist outside. My mind ran in brutal, looping circles, stopping always on the same image. His hands in her hair, her lips on his, their betrayal captured like a wedding portrait. By the time dawn threaded pale light through the curtains, a new plan had begun to take shape, slowly, deliberately, piece by piece, like a puzzle building itself. I wasn't just going to expose them. I was going to make them answer for every lie they thought I was too blind to see. Adam woke around 7, rubbing his eyes and yawning as if he'd earned rest. He glanced at me, still sitting up in bed, and frowned lightly. "You okay? You look like you barely slept." I didn't. Why? I almost laughed. He said it so casually, so innocently. Instead, I gave him a small, distant smile. "Just thinking." He reached out to touch my hand, and instinct made me pull away. He froze. "Did I do something?" he asked, try to keep his tone light. I studied him, a skill I had perfected without realizing it. The micro-expressions he failed to hide, the twitch of guilt around the eyes, the way his jaw tightened when he was bracing for a truth he hoped wouldn't come out. "Oh, Adam," I said softly, "you've done so many things." He blinked. What's that supposed to mean? But I didn't answer. I simply got up from bed, walked into the bathroom, and closed the door behind me. Let him wonder. Let him simmer. Let him panic. Their comfort had lived too long in my home. It was time to starve it. At 8:15 a.m., I left the apartment with a scarf wrapped tight around my neck, a hoodie, and sunglasses, an outfit that made me look anonymous, unremarkable. Perfect.my first stop was the university where Jenna worked. She was an adjunct professor in psychology, of all things. The irony was so sharp I nearly laughed again as I parked 2 blocks away and waited. At 9:05, she arrived. She stepped out of her car in a neat cream sweater, hair tied in a loose, chic bun, cup of coffee in hand. She looked every bit the polished professional, the caring friend, the woman who had hugged me just 2 days ago. She looked like someone who would never do what she'd done. But she had, and she thought she'd gotten away with it. I waited until she walked toward the building's front steps. Then I opened my bag and took out the stack, 100 copies of the photo. My heart thudded once hard. It was time. I followed her quietly, staying a good distance away. The hallway outside her classroom was already busy with students, laughing, shuffling, scrolling on phones. I slipped the first set of photos onto the bulletin board, then 2 more on the table nearby, a handful on an empty seat, several taped lightly to the wall. Everywhere, little truths in glossy ink. Within minutes, the whispers began. Is that Professor Hale? Holy, is that her with some guy? Isn't she married? No, I think he's married. Look at the ring. I stayed in the corner, blending in with the crowd. Jenna walked into view just as a group of students turned around, staring at her like she'd stepped out of a scandalous documentary. Her smile faltered. She noticed the photos. Her face drained of color. And for a second, for a long, delicious second, she didn't know what to do. She froze, her breath catching, her fingers trembling as she reached for one of the prints. She looked around the hallway, wild-eyed, searching for the culprit. She didn't see me. I stepped back into the stairwell before she could. I wasn't ready for her to find me. Not yet, because this wasn't the climax. This was only the opening move. By noon, the storm was already gaining momentum. I put another 100 copies at Adam's workplace, slipped into the break room, in the men's restroom stall doors, tucked into the conference room presentation folders, even dropped one on the desk of the HR director for good measure. Office gossip spreads faster than infection. I didn't have to stay to witness the fallout. I only had to watch the receptionist's subtle double take as she looked at the image and then at Adam's framed ID photo on the sign-in counter. My phone buzzed at 12:23. Hey, something's weird happening at work. Can you call me? I smiled without smiling. Not yet, sweetheart. You haven't suffered enough. By 1:30, I ran the next errand, our neighborhood cafe, where Adam often went with Jenna for a quick catch-up. I dropped off a stack beneath the sugar packets, another in the tip jar, 3 more slipped on her napkin holders. The barista recognized me. Hey, haven't seen you in a while. I responded with a warm nod, just spreading love. If she found that strange, she didn't show it. When I returned home, I felt lighter, not peaceful, not healed, but sharper. My mind was a blade honed overnight, slicing cleanly through the fog that had once kept me obedient, soft, forgiving. At 3:47 p.m., Adam burst through the front door. I heard him from the kitchen, rapid footsteps, ragged breathing, panic etched in every movement. Where are you? He called, voice cracking. I walked out calmly, wiping my hands on a towel. His face was pale. His tie was crooked. His hands shook as he held 5 crumpled copies of the photo, evidence of where he'd been, who had confronted him, what truths were circling him like vultures. What is this? He demanded, voice almost breaking. Where did this come from? Who? Who would do something like this? I met his eyes evenly. Who do you think? He froze, and I watched the moment the truth slammed into him. His pupils tightened. His chest rose sharply. His mouth opened without sound. He whispered. Yes, I said. Why would you? He stopped, because even he knew how idiotic the question was. I stepped closer, looking at him the way one might look at a puzzle missing several pieces. That photo, I said softly, was in your wallet. He flinched, a visible flinch, the kind that tells you the truth is a bullet hitting bone. I can explain, he blurted. It's not what you think, isn't it? I tilted my head, because from what I can see, it's exactly what I think. He tried again. No, I swear it's complicated. It's betrayal, Adam. Not complicated. That shut him up. For a long moment, we stood in silence, the room thick with everything he had broken and everything I'd already set in motion. His voice lowered, almost pleading. Can we just talk? Please. We will, I said. Later. Later? When? When Jenna joins us. He went utterly still. And then, a knock sounded at the door. Sharp. Urgent. Too perfectly timed to be anyone else. Adam's face collapsed, because behind that door stood his mistress, and neither of them knew what I planned next. For a moment, the knock didn't feel real. It echoed through the apartment like something pulled from a nightmare, too loud, too timed, too heavy with the weight of everything that had been simmering beneath our lives. Adam stared at the door as if it might collapse inward and crush him. Don't, he whispered, barely audible. Please don't answer that. But I was already moving. My footsteps were steady, unhurried. I could feel Adam behind me, frazzled, trembling, torn between stopping me and being too terrified to try. When I reached the door, I could see her silhouette through the frosted glass. Jenna. Her posture was rigid, her movements frantic, her shadow shifting like someone fighting not to fall apart. Good. Let her feel even a fraction of the chaos she helped create. I opened the door slowly, and there she was. Her face was flushed, eyes rimmed red, makeup slightly smeared like she'd rushed here without a second thought. She clutched one of the glossy photos in her hand, wrinkled and damp as though she had crushed it in desperation. Can we talk? She blurted, stepping forward. But I lifted a hand to stop her. No, I said softly. We're going to do more than talk. Her eyes flicked over my shoulder to Adam, who hovered behind me like a man awaiting execution. Adam, she breathed, her voice cracking. What the hell are you doing here? He snapped. You should have called me. I couldn't. Her voice climbed. Adam, the university, everyone my department share called me into her office. They said people found these in the hallways. I didn't know what to do. I thought. You thought you'd come here? He hissed. Yes, she cried. I panicked. I thought maybe you knew what was happening. I didn't do this, he shot back. She jerked, hurt flickering in her eyes. I'm not saying you did. I'm saying, I did it, I said. Everything stopped. Jenna's gaze whipped toward me, shock etched in every line of her face. You? I nodded. Me? There was no trembling in my hands, no weakness in my voice. My composure was a blade, clean, precise, unforgiving. She took a small step back. Why would you? I raised an eyebrow. Do you really want to ask a question you already know the answer to? Her lips parted, but no sound came out. She looked down at the photo again, as if hoping the image would explain itself differently this time. It didn't. It would never. I stepped aside and opened the door wider. Come in. Jenna hesitated, glancing between Adam and me. There was caution in her eyes now, and something else too. Guilt, or maybe the fear that guilt would no longer be a private emotion. But she entered. She walked into my living room, the same room where she used to sit with me for wine nights, laughing over stories we thought mattered. The same room where Adam had lifted me onto his shoulders during our first New Year's together. Now the air felt different, dense, electric, acidic. She perched on the edge of the sofa like it might burn her. Adam stayed standing, arms crossed tight, eyes darting nervously. I took the armchair across from them, folding my hands in my lap. 3 people, 3 different versions of the truth. One room that no longer belonged to any of us. I think we should start, I said calmly. With what? Adam asked, voice thin. The truth. They exchanged a look, one of habit, one of shared secrets forged in stolen corners of time. It pulled something bitter inside me, but I didn't let it show. You've both been cheating on me, I said plainly. Jenna inhaled sharply. Adam flinched. Not, Adam began. Please don't lie. I cut in, gentle but unyielding. He swallowed hard. Jenna stared at her hands. It wasn't supposed to happen. That's what all affairs say, I replied. But when 2 people secretly cross lines, it's never accidental. It's intentional, repeated, protected. Adam rubbed his forehead. We didn't. We weren't. Together? I asked. Involved? Intimate? No, he said too quickly. Jenna's silence said otherwise. I looked at her. Jenna. Her throat worked. I don't know what to say. Try the truth. She shut her eyes, breath trembling. It was one kiss. One, I repeated. Adam stepped forward defensively. Yes, just one. It was stupid, okay? It happened months ago. We were both drunk and emotional, and you kept a photograph of it, I finished. The room froze. Jenna snapped her gaze toward Adam. You what? Adam stuttered. I didn't keep it because of, You kept a photo? Jenna's voice rose. Why would you do that? Are you insane? It was just stuffed in my wallet, okay? I forgot it was there. Forgot. I echoed. He turned to me, desperate. I swear I didn't look at it. I don't know how it stayed. Stop. My voice cut like a knife. You don't accidentally keep evidence of a kiss with your wife's best friend. It doesn't slip your mind. You keep it because you want it. Adam's face twisted. He didn't argue. Because he couldn't. Jenna leaned back, shaking her head. This was a mistake. It was all a mistake. That, I said, is the first true thing you've said today. She glared at me then, hurt mingling with fury. So what? You're punishing us like this? Ruining my job? Destroying his career? Humiliating us everywhere we go? Yes, I answered simply. The honesty stunned her. Adam took a slow breath. This is cruel. What you did was cruel, I answered. What I'm doing is simply symmetrical. Jenna stood abruptly, panic flaring in her eyes. You need to stop this before you make things worse. I tilted my head. Worse for whom? She didn't answer. Because she knew the truth. The damage was already leaking into every corner of their lives. And this was only section 3. Listen, Jenna said, her voice suddenly softening, turning pleading. I'm sorry. I am. But you're blowing this out of proportion. My laugh was short, sharp, humorless. Out of proportion? You kissed my husband in the same bar where he proposed to me. Her expression fractured. Adam whispered, I didn't know she remembered that. Of course I remembered, I said. I remember everything. Jenna looked like she was about to cry. Can't we just move on? No. Why not? Because I'm not done. Jenna stared. Done with what? The silence stretched, heavy and controlled. Then I said it, exposing everything. Adam stepped forward. No. No, you can't. But before he could finish, his phone lit up on the coffee table. His boss. Calling. Then it buzzed again. And again. Followed by messages popping up in rapid succession. Adam's face drained as he read the previews. Is this you? We need to talk. Call me now. Come to HR immediately. He looked up at me, horror dawning. What did you do? Before I could answer, another sound pierced the room. A notification on my phone. A new message. From an unknown number. I looked at the screen, and the moment I read it, my blood ran cold. Not with fear, with revelation. Because this message, this wasn't from Adam. This wasn't from Jenna. This was from someone else. Someone who knew more than either of them had ever told me. And that meant this betrayal was deeper than a simple kiss. The message glowed on my screen, a single sentence that sliced through the room like a knife. You don't know the real story. Meet me before you go any further. No name, no number I recognized. Just that. For a moment, the apartment felt too quiet, as if the walls themselves were listening. Adam's breathing was shallow behind me. Jenna's fingers tightened around the wrinkled photo in her hand. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just stared at my phone, because that message shifted something. Not loosened, not healed, but shifted. Someone else knew. Someone who wasn't in this room. Someone watching from the shadows of a betrayal I'd only begun to unravel. Slowly, I lowered the phone. Who was that? Adam demanded, voice cracking. None of your concern, I said. It damn well is if you're dragging our lives through hell. Your lives drag themselves, I reminded him, calm as ice. Jenna stepped closer, eyes widening. What did the message say? I turned to her, to both of them, and let the tension stretch so they could feel the weight of their own uncertainty. It said someone wants to talk. I answered simply. Ooh, Adam pressed. I smiled softly. You tell me. The way their faces contorted, the panic in their eyes, the small, involuntary shift of guilt that passed between them. It confirmed something. They knew this secret didn't end with a kiss. There was more, much more. Jenna sank slowly back onto the couch, fingers trembling. This is getting out of control. It got out of control the moment you kissed my husband, I said. She opened her mouth, then closed it, as if searching for an argument she no longer believed. Adam paced the living room with short, tense steps. Who the hell would text you? Who else even knows? You tell me, I repeated. I swear I don't know. His voice climbed in desperation. Jenna hesitated. The hesitation said everything. I took one slow step toward her. Who else knows? She swallowed hard. Looked down. Shook her head once, too quickly. Jenna, I said, my voice sharp enough to cut. If you lie to me again, I will burn whatever remains of your career to ash. She flinched, chin trembling, then whispered, Lily. Adam froze mid-step. Your sister? Not by choice. Jenna burst out. She saw us at the bar that night. We didn't notice until later. She confronted me the next day. And what did you tell her? I demanded. That it was a mistake, she whispered. That it was over. But it wasn't, I said. Not if Adam kept that photo. She shot Adam a look sharp enough to wound. I didn't know he kept it. Adam's voice was thin. I didn't keep it for her. God, I didn't keep it because I wanted to look at it. I just couldn't throw it away in the moment. It felt too what? I asked. Precious. Too messy, he snapped. If I threw it out, someone could find it. I panicked. Amazing, I said flatly. You didn't panic while kissing her, but you panicked about recycling. He winced. The tension in the room was suffocating now. My heart wasn't racing, but theirs were. I could hear it in their breaths, in the shallow hitches, in the way their bodies seemed to shrink into themselves. Good. Let them feel uncertainty. Let them feel fear. Let them feel the unraveling of the neat little world they built behind my back. Jenna finally found her voice again. What are you going to do? I haven't decided yet. But you already humiliated us, she whispered. And I'm not sorry. Adam rubbed his face with both hands, his voice collapsing. We can fix this, okay? We can talk it out. No, I said firmly. It was just a kiss. The city always felt different at dusk, softened, hushed, like a secret unfolding. Tonight, though, its quietness felt more like anticipation, the kind that comes right before a storm breaks. I reached the cafe with 5 minutes to spare. The place was small, tucked between a shuttered bookstore and a tattoo studio, its windows fogged lightly from the warmth inside. Soft jazz played through speakers. The lights were dim, golden. It was the kind of place lovers might choose for whispered promises. The irony wasn't lost on me. I scanned the room. Only a handful of customers. A middle-aged couple sharing pastries. A young man typing furiously on a laptop. A woman with bright red hair reading in the corner. No one looked up at me. No one waved me over. No one seemed like the type to drop cryptic messages about betrayal. The barista at the counter smiled. Evening. What can I get you? I shook my head. I'm meeting someone. She nodded and returned to wiping the espresso machine. I chose a booth near the back where I could see the entire room. I didn't touch my phone. Didn't fidget. I let stillness settle over me like armor. At exactly 7:32 p.m., the cafe door chimed. I looked up and froze. It was Lily, Jenna's younger sister. Her hair was pulled into a tight ponytail, her expression rigid, her eyes darting across the room before landing firmly on me. Dressed in a black coat and jeans, she looked both nervous and determined, as if she had come to war with herself before stepping inside. She approached my booth slowly, sliding into the seat opposite me without waiting for permission. What are you doing here? I asked quietly. She didn't answer at first. Her throat bobbed as she swallowed. Then she said, I'm the one who texted you. Of course she was. It made sense the moment she said it. But the knowledge still sent a ripple of something cold through me. Why? I asked. Her gaze flickered to the door, then back to me. Because if you keep going the way you're going to blow up the wrong villain. I stared at her. The wrong villain? Her fingers tightened around the edge of the table. Yes. You saw them, I said. You saw the kiss. Yes. And you knew they were hiding it. Yes. So how exactly am I targeting the wrong villain? Lily exhaled shakily. Because the kiss isn't the whole truth. Not even close. A bead of silence stretched between us. Then tell me the whole truth, I said. She shook her head. Not here. Why not? Because someone else could be watching. A bitter laugh caught in my throat. Watching us? Are you serious? She leaned forward. You think this is only about an affair? You think this is just about two guilty people sneaking behind your back? No. Her voice dropped. There's more. Something bigger. Something they didn't tell you. My pulse thudded once hard. Lily, stop speaking in riddles. I can't say it here, she whispered urgently. Meet me again tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. at the old pier, Pier 12. There's no one around at that hour. No cameras. No ears. I'm not playing games, I said coldly. If you know something, you say it now. She shook her head, panicked. I swear, I will tell you everything. But not tonight. Not where people can hear. Just please, come tomorrow. My jaw tightened. Why should I trust you? Because I'm the only one who didn't lie to you, she said. And because what I'm about to tell you will change everything. About Adam. About Jenna. About what really happened the night of that kiss. Her voice trembled on that last word. I leaned back, studying her. There was no triumph in her expression. No superiority. No satisfaction. Just fear. Real fear. What changed your mind? I asked. Why tell me now? Her eyes softened with something like pity. Because you're burning the world down without knowing who actually lit the match. A chill ran through me. Lily, I said slowly, are you saying Adam and Jenna did it? Don't finish that here, she cut in sharply. Please, just meet me tomorrow. If you want the truth, that's where I'll give it to you. Before I could respond, she slid out of the booth, pulling her coat tight around her shoulders. At the door, she turned once more, her eyes haunted, and then she was gone. The cafe door chimed softly behind her. I sat there, alone in the dim light, replaying her words like a broken record. The wrong villain. The kiss wasn't the whole truth. What really happened that night? Something bigger. My breathing grew slow, controlled. My mind sharpened like glass. Whatever Lily planned to reveal. It wasn't small. It wasn't simple. And it wasn't going to absolve Adam and Jenna. No, this felt darker. I finally stood, leaving the cafe, the cold night air biting at my skin. Streetlights flickered across wet pavement as I walked toward my car. Then my phone buzzed again. A new message. From Adam. Please come home. Something happened. It's urgent. I stared at the screen. Then another message arrived immediately after, as if he couldn't help himself. I think someone is watching the apartment. I froze. My breath hitched. Because if that was true, then Lily wasn't the only one moving pieces in the dark. Someone else was out there. Someone who didn't want the truth to surface. The street lamps hummed softly as I stood frozen beside my car, Adam's last message glowing like a flare on my screen. I think someone is watching the apartment. Rain misted the air, settling cold against my skin. The night felt heavier now, thicker, as though something unseen had shifted into the open. Someone watching. Someone other than Lily. Someone who didn't want me knowing whatever she planned to reveal tomorrow. I slipped my phone into my pocket and scanned the street. A few cars passed. A dog barked 2 blocks down. A neon sign flickered. Nothing felt wrong. And yet, Adam didn't scare easily. He wasn't imaginative, paranoid, or prone to exaggeration. If he said someone was watching, it wasn't a lie. I got into my car and drove straight home, slowly, eyes flicking to my mirrors every few seconds. No headlights trailed me. No shadows clung to the corners. By the time I reached the apartment building parking lot, my breath had steadied, but my nerves hadn't. The hallway outside our unit was silent. Too silent. It felt like a held breath. I unlocked the door. It was dim inside. Only the kitchen light was on. Adam paced in the center of the living room, his hair disheveled, his shirt wrinkled like he'd been wringing it with his hands. When he saw me, he exhaled sharply, relief collapsing his shoulders. Thank God, he whispered. I thought, what happened? I cut in, closing the door behind me. He swallowed. I don't know, but I'm scared. I almost laughed. I almost said, now you know how it feels. But something in his voice, thin, trembling, stopped me. This wasn't guilt. This was fear. Real. What do you mean someone was watching the apartment? I asked. He ran a hand through his hair. I kept thinking I saw someone outside. First across the street, then by the stairwell. Not close enough to make out details. Just watching. You're sure? I'm not imagining things, he murmured. I haven't slept. I haven't eaten. People at work were staring at me like a criminal, and Jenna's blowing up my phone, and then he stopped abruptly. My eyes narrowed. Then what? He hesitated. Then you left, he whispered, and I didn't know what you were doing. I thought maybe you were coming after me. Or after her. A beat. But this wasn't you. Something twisted unpleasantly inside me. No, I said. It wasn't me. He looked at me then, truly looked, and the realization settled across his face. So someone else knows, he said quietly. Yes. Who? I didn't answer. Adam stepped closer, voice tight. You have to tell me. No, I said. Not tonight. He flinched as if struck. His voice cracked. You can't keep me in the dark. Not when you've. You kept me in the dark for months, I snapped. He shut up. But whatever argument he swallowed left pain etched across his face. I took a slow breath. Did you tell anyone about the kiss? Other than Jenna? No, he said instantly. Think. He shook his head. No one. I swear. And Jenna? Just Lily, he said bitterly. Apparently. Yes. Lily. Lily, who wanted to meet again tomorrow. Lily, who believed there was a bigger truth. Lily, who said there were no cameras at the pier. Which meant someone watching wasn't coincidence. It was connected. Adam, I said slowly, did you recognize the person you saw? He shook his head. Too far. Too dark. Can you describe anything? He hesitated. They were small. Like short. Or hunched. Male? Female? I don't know. I exhaled. All right. Did they leave? I think so. You think so? Yes, he said sharply. I'm not a detective, okay? The moment the words left his mouth, he winced. I stared at him. There are 3 possibilities, I said calmly. Only 3. Adam swallowed again, waiting. 1. Someone connected to you. 2. Someone connected to Jenna. Or 3. 3, he whispered. Someone I don't know at all. A shiver passed through him. Before either of us could speak again, my phone buzzed. I pulled it out. A new message. This time not from Adam. Not from an unknown number. Not from Lily. It was from a number I did recognize. Jenna. The preview read, you need to stop. I just found something, and if you go any further, you're going to regret it. My stomach tightened. Another buzz. We need to meet. Tonight. Now. A third buzz. Please. You don't understand what's happening. I looked up at Adam. Do you know what she's talking about? I asked. His face was blank. No. You're sure? Yes. I looked back down at the messages. Something was unraveling faster than I could track. Something Jenna didn't want in text. Something Lily was afraid to say in public. Something Adam either didn't know or refused to admit. I stood. Where are you going? Adam asked, panic rising again. To meet her. What? Are you crazy? After everything. You're not coming, I said calmly. He grabbed my arm. You can't go alone. I stared at his hand until he released me. I've been alone in this for a long time, I said. You just didn't notice. He swallowed hard. I grabbed my coat, stepped toward the door. But as soon as I unlocked it, I froze. Because there, on the doormat, lay something that hadn't been there before. A single glossy photo. My breath hitched. Not of Jenna. Not of Adam. Not of the kiss. It was a photograph of me, taken from across the street. In the rain. Tonight. Walking toward my car. And scrawled across the bottom in messy black ink were 4 words. Stop digging or break. The hallway felt colder. The world felt smaller. My heartbeat thudded in my ears. Behind me, Adam whispered, oh my God, because whoever had been watching us, they weren't hiding anymore. They were sending warnings. And the next move? It belonged to them. For a long moment, Adam and I just stared at the photo lying on the doormat. My face caught mid-step in a grainy, rain-washed shot. The streetlight had carved sharp shadows across my features, making me look like someone I didn't recognize. Not weak, not heartbroken, not betrayed, hunted. The inked warning beneath, it seemed to throb beneath the dim hallway lamp. Stop digging or break. My pulse hammered in my ears, but my voice stayed steady. This wasn't some random stalker. Adam swallowed thickly. No, they know too much. They know everything, I said quietly. Whoever this person was, they knew about the kiss. They knew where I'd been tonight. They knew Lily had contacted me. And now, they knew I wasn't backing down. Adam took a shaky breath. We need to call the police. No. He blinked. No. Are you serious? Someone is threatening you. And if we call the police, I said, they disappear. They vanish. They become a shadow again. I lose the only thread I have. That thread is dangerous. So is ignorance. We locked eyes for a moment that felt heavy with years of everything we'd never said. Then I turned from him, grabbed the photo, and pocketed it. Jenna wanted to meet. Lily wanted to talk. Someone wanted me to stop. And all three things happening simultaneously was not coincidence. I stepped back inside long enough to grab my keys. "Wait," Adams said, blocking the doorway. "If you won't call the police, at least let me come with you." "No, you're not safe out there." I met his eyes, and the words leaving my mouth surprised even me. "I have never been less safe than I was when I trusted you." He flinched hard and stepped away. I walked out. The night felt colder now. Not rainy, not misty cold. The type of cold that made every sound sharper. It took 15 minutes to reach the address Jenna had sent. A narrow residential street. Old houses. Porch lights flickering like tired eyes. Her car was parked beneath a broken street lamp, her silhouette faintly visible through the windshield. I pulled up behind her, stepped out of my car, and walked to her window. She jumped when she saw me. "Get in," she said quickly. "Please." I opened the passenger door and slid inside. Jenna looked terrible, pale, shaken, mascara smudged. But it wasn't the guilt-stricken look she'd worn earlier. This was something else. Fear. Not of me. Not of Adam. Of something bigger. "What did you find?" I asked. She didn't speak for several seconds. She just stared straight ahead, gripping the steering wheel. "Finally, someone broke into my house." The air left my lungs. "What?" Jenna nodded, breath trembling. "I came home after everything. I was trying to calm down. I went to shower. When I came out, my bedroom was a mess." "Did they take anything?" "Yes," she whispered. "And no." I stared at her. "What does that mean?" "They didn't take valuables. Jewelry. Laptop. Nothing like that." Her voice cracked. "They only took one thing." A chill climbed my spine. "What?" She turned to me slowly, eyes wide and terrified. "The original photo." My blood iced over. "The one in Adam's wallet?" "Yes. But I have the original. I found it." She shook her head violently. "No, you had a print. Not the original. I took the original after the kiss. Adam begged me to delete it, but I couldn't. I wanted proof. In case he said it never happened." My mind stumbled. "You're telling me," I said carefully, "there were two copies?" "No, there was one original. The one I took that night. Adam made me send him a picture of it so he could delete it from my phone. But I kept the printout." She swallowed. "That printout was in my nightstand. And someone stole it tonight?" She nodded shakily. "And left everything else?" "Everything." My thoughts spun. Whoever broke into her house wasn't after money. They weren't after electronics. They were after evidence. Someone wanted the truth buried. Completely. Permanently. I exhaled shakily. "Jenna, who else knew you had the picture?" "No one," she whispered. "Not even Lily." "That's not possible." "It's the truth." I stared at her, trying to process it. "So let me get this straight," I said. "The only people who knew the picture existed were you, Adam." "And you," she finished. "No," I said quietly. "I didn't know the original existed until now." Jenna went still. A deep, pulsing tension crawled between us. "Then who?" she whispered. "Who could have known?" We both turned at the same time, slowly, instinctively, as though some part of us already sensed the answer standing in the shadows. Across the street, beneath the flickering lamp, a figure stood. Small, still, watching us. My lungs froze. Jenna's voice cracked into a whisper. "Oh God, they followed me." I reached instinctively for the door handle. "Stay here." "No, don't," she grabbed my sleeve. "You don't know who that is." I'm done being afraid. I opened the door and stepped out. The figure didn't move. Didn't run. Didn't hide. They stood beneath the broken street lamp like they belonged there. The closer I got, the clearer their outline became. A hood, hands in pockets. Small frame, too small to be a grown man. Too small, too small. A chill swept through me. "Who are you?" I called out, voice steady. The figure tilted their head. And then they stepped forward into the spill of light. My breath stopped, because standing beneath that street lamp, trembling, soaked, eyes red from crying, was someone I never expected. Not a stranger, not a stalker, not a nameless threat. It was Lily, but not the Lily from a cafe. Not calm, not confident. This Lily looked terrified, broken, and when she finally spoke, her voice was a whisper cracked down the middle. "You picked the wrong person to trust." For a moment, none of us moved. Jenna half curled in the driver's seat, one foot on the pavement. I stood by the open car door, and Lily, small and rigid under the broken street lamp, looked like a ghost that had finally decided to materialize. "You picked the wrong person to trust," she repeated, her voice shaking. My breath clouded between us. "Clarify, Lily. Am I trusting the wrong man or the wrong friend?" She swallowed. "Both." Jenna shoved her door open and stepped out. "What is that supposed to mean?" "Back in the car," I said. "No," she snapped, wrapping her arms around herself against the cold. "I'm done being talked about like I'm not here." "Fine." Let her stand in the wreckage she helped build. We ended up in a crooked triangle in the middle of the narrow street, headlights from a passing car sweeping over us before fading again. "Start talking," I told Lily. "All of it. No more half-truths." She kept glancing over her shoulder. "First, that note on your doorstep. I didn't send it." Jenna frowned. "What note?" I pulled the photo from my pocket and held it up. Me in the rain outside the cafe, streetlight cutting across my face, and 4 words at the bottom in jagged ink. "Stop digging or break." Lily's hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God, you never saw this before?" I asked. She shook her head. "I did take a picture of you outside the cafe. I wanted proof you'd actually met me, but I didn't print it. I didn't write that. I swear." Cold crept down my spine. "How many people knew we were meeting?" I asked. "Just me," she whispered. "I didn't tell Jenna until after." "She didn't," Jenna said quietly. "She texted me later, panicking." "So someone else took my photo," I said. "Someone else printed it. Someone else wrote that warning." "That's what I've been trying to tell you," Lily said. "This isn't just about a stupid kiss. There's someone else in this. Someone who's been pulling strings the whole time." "Who?" I demanded. Lily's gaze slid to Jenna. Jenna's jaw tightened. "Don't." "Him," Lily said anyway. "Who is him?" I asked. Jenna stared at the asphalt. "It doesn't matter. He's gone. If he were gone, he wouldn't be slipping threats under my door," I said. "Someone broke into your house and took only that photograph. Someone's been watching my building. If you keep protecting whoever he is, you're not just scared, Jenna. You're helping him." Her composure cracked. "You don't understand what he can do." "Then make me understand," I shot back. Lily sucked in a breath, then straightened. "His name is Marcus." The name meant nothing at first. "Who is he?" I asked. Jenna closed her eyes. "My ex. The one she never told you about," Lily added. "The one from before Adam. The one who didn't take no." I stared at Jenna. "You told me every guy before Adam was casual." "I wanted him to be," she murmured. "Marcus didn't stay forgotten." Lily's voice sharpened. "He was obsessed. Showed up at her work, her apartment. Constant texts. Calls from unknown numbers. He followed her. After she broke up with him, he stalked her for months." My skin crawled. "You could have told me," I said. Jenna shook her head. "I was ashamed, and I thought it was over. By the time you and I got close, he'd gone quiet. I didn't want you to look at me like I was something he broke." "You're something he's still breaking," Lily said. "Because you keep hiding him." I cut in. "Where does he fit into that photo?" Lily looked at me. "Marcus took it." The world tilted. "What?" I whispered. "He was at the bar that night," Lily said. "He saw them together. He snapped the shot." "You think Jenna whipped out a camera during a stolen kiss?" "No, Marcus did. Then he printed it and mailed it to her. That's the original she kept." I turned to Jenna. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "He said if I didn't do what he wanted, he'd send it to you. To Adam's work. To the university. To anyone he thought would hurt me most." "So you were being blackmailed?" I said. She nodded. "I kept the print so I could prove it was him. Just in case." "In case of what?" "In case I ever had the courage to report him," she murmured. Lily snorted. "You never did." Jenna's shoulders sagged. "Every time I thought about it, he'd send another message. Nice blue dress on Tuesday. Shame if your students saw this. I thought if I just managed him, he'd get bored and move on." "They don't get bored," Lily said quietly. "They just get more dangerous." The night pressed in around us. "So, when I made 500 copies," I said slowly, "I didn't just humiliate you." Lily nodded. "You destroyed his leverage. He can't keep the secret if everyone has seen it." A humorless laugh scraped out of me. "I did something smart by accident. It's why he's escalating," Lily said. "Why he broke into Jenna's place. Why he's watching your building. He's losing control of the story. I thought of the doormat photo, the break-in, the feeling of eyes on me for weeks. So he stole the original, I said, to erase proof he ever had his hands on it. Exactly, Lily said. Paper copies you unleashed can be blamed on a jealous wife. Digital files can be wiped. But the original from his camera, that's a trail back to him. He needed it gone. That doesn't change what you did, I told Jenna. You still kissed my husband. You still lied. You still let some obsessed man hold my life over your head without warning me. She flinched. I know. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just trying not to get us all hurt. You said I picked the wrong person to trust, I said to Lily. You meant her. I begged Jenna to tell you about Marcus months ago, Lily said. She refused. She swore she could handle it. She couldn't. Now he's focused on you. That's on her. Guilt twisted Jenna's face. I wanted to hate her simply. It would have been easier. But life like messy. My phone buzzed. We all jumped. Another unknown text. Another photo. This time it wasn't just me. It was all three of us, framed exactly as we stood now in the middle of the street. My arm raised with the phone, Lily under the lamp, Jenna turned half toward me. Taken from somewhere down the block. Seconds ago. Beneath it, the same jagged handwriting. Tomorrow. Pier 12. Come alone. That's my meeting, Lily whispered. He knows I told you. The letters blurred on my screen. The pier, I said slowly. The place you picked because there were no cameras. Because I thought there weren't, she whispered. Don't go, Jenna said. If you show up, he'll have you exactly where he wants you. I slid the phone back into my pocket, fingers curling. I am so tired, I said quietly, of men deciding where I'm allowed to stand. I met both their eyes. Tomorrow, I said, I'm going to Pier 12. Lily shook her head. You can't go alone. A bitter calm settled over me, colder than fear. Who said I was going alone? I asked. And for the first time all night, an idea, not just revenge, but an actual plan, began to take shape in the ruins of everything I thought I knew. Sleep didn't visit me that night. I lay in bed staring at the faint cracks in the ceiling, tracing them like fault lines in everything I once thought was solid. Adam lay on the couch in the living room. My choice, not his. Every so often the springs creaked, followed by a quiet, strangled sigh he probably thought I couldn't hear. By 3 a.m., my mind was a tangle map. A kiss. A stalker. A stolen photo. A sister who waited too long. A husband who betrayed me. A best friend who broke me. And a man named Marcus who'd stepped out of the shadows just enough to threaten me. He'd made one mistake. He'd given me a time and a place. Pier 12. Tomorrow. Come alone. That command sat lodged beneath my ribs like a splinter. I got out of bed. The apartment was dim, lit by the thin slice of streetlight bleeding through the curtains. The box of printed photos still sat on the dining table like an ugly altar. I pulled out a chair and sat, hands cold against the wood. I needed more than anger. I needed a plan. I pulled my phone closer and opened the threatening image again. The shot of me outside the cafe, the jagged words at the bottom. Stop digging or break. The ink had bled into the paper as if whoever wrote it had pressed down too hard. Someone who writes like that isn't calm. They're holding their rage in their fist. Good. You're not sleeping either, a voice said quietly. I looked up. Adam stood in the doorway, blanket draped over his shoulders, face pale and drawn. He looked small tonight. Or maybe I was finally seeing how guilt shrinks people. I don't remember inviting conversation, I said. He winced but stepped closer, pulling out the chair opposite me. You going to the pier, he said. Not a question. Yes. You can't go without a plan. That's why I'm awake. He watched me for a long moment. What are you thinking? That I'm done reacting, I said. It's time he reacts to me. You're not a vigilante. I'm a woman whose life he decided was free real estate, I replied. That qualifies me enough. He looked away, jaw tightening. Let me come, he said suddenly. No, I can help. You've done enough, I said, maybe sharper than necessary. Besides, he wants me. If you show up, he'll bolt. And if you go alone, he might hurt you. I'm already hurt. That's not what I mean, he whispered. And you know it. His voice held real fear now. Not shame, not regret. Fear. The police then, he said. An anonymous tip. They can stay nearby. Marcus is careful, I said. He chose the pier for a reason. Isolated, loud water, easy exits. If we spook him, he disappears, and then what? We're back here, waiting for him to take the next step. Then what's your plan? I looked at the box of photos. Marcus thrives on control, I said. Control of information. Control of fear. I cracked that when I spread the picture, but he still has something, or he wouldn't be this desperate. More photos. Adam asked. Maybe. Or something worse. He paled. I want proof, I said. And I want witnesses. You said I can't come. I wasn't talking about you. He blinked, and then understood. Lily, he murmured. And Jenna. He stared. You still trust them? No. I trust their fear. Fear is predictable. So you're using them as bait? We're done being bait, I said. I want us to be witnesses. If he tries anything, it's not my word against his. It's 3 women, and 1 man watching from a distance. He hesitated. You're talking about a sting. I'm talking about refusing to hide behind his rules. The clock ticked in the quiet. You'll need angles, he said finally. Exits. Cover. Then help me. I said, you put me in this story. The least you can do is help me write the ending. His eyes softened, pained. What do you need? By late morning, Lily agreed to meet an hour early. Jenna eventually caved too. Her text frantic with this is a bad idea, and you don't know him like we do. Good. Let fear sharpen them. Pier 12 sat at the far edge of the waterfront district, where the polished city gave way to rust and forgotten metal. The air smelled of salt and cold iron. Gulls screamed overhead. Adam parked a block away. We sat in silence for a long moment. I stay here, he said. You 3 take the pier. I'll watch from the street. This isn't about you being in charge of my safety, I said. It's about redundancy. If something goes wrong, someone needs to be out of the blast radius. He wasn't wrong. Fine. If you see anything that even looks like a weapon, call the police first. He nodded. Deal. I opened the door. Wait, he whispered. If something happens to you, I'll never forgive myself. You already shouldn't, I said and stepped out. Wind tugged at my hair as I approached the pier. I saw Lily pacing near the railing, hugging her jacket tight. Jenna stood farther back, arms folded, eyes darting across every shadow. They converged as I reached them. You came early, Lily said, voice thin. We need to learn the ground, I replied. Where did you tell him to meet you? She pointed toward the pier's end, near the ladder. People don't come that far. Perfect for secrets. Perfect for threats. We walked, footsteps hollow on the wooden planks. The end of the pier opened into a wide square with a rusted bench and a mounted life ring. This is it, Lily whispered. I nodded. Positions. Lily, you stand here. Phone recording audio but hidden. Jenna, 10 paces back, leaning on that piling. Camera on, angled down the pier. And you? Jenna asked. I'll be where he doesn't look first. I pointed toward a stack of lobster traps beside a metal storage unit. From there, I'd have a clear view. Do you really think this will work? Lily asked. I think he believes he's the only one thinking strategically, I said. He's not expecting us to coordinate. Jenna shivered. You still don't understand him. Then explain him, I said. Properly. She stared at the water. Marcus doesn't pull back when he loses control. He pushes harder. Then let him, I said. I'm done running. My phone buzzed. A message from Adam. I can see you 3. No movement yet. Staying put. The pier around us was quiet. Still. Waiting. Lily checked her watch. It's only 8:42. He said 9. Good, I said. Let him walk into a space that already belongs to us. Jenna's voice shook. I hate this. I know, I said. But we're ending it today. And then, close, too close. A board creaked behind us. Lily stiffened. Jenna's hand flew to her mouth. I turned sharply toward the sound and froze because someone was already on the pier, standing at the far entrance, watching us, waiting. The figure stood motionless at the entrance to the pier, where the wooden slats met the cracked concrete walkway. The early morning light, thin and gray, flattened his silhouette into something sharp and expressionless. Tall, broad-shouldered, head bowed just enough to hide his face. Even from a distance, I felt it, that pressure in the air, That electric shift that precedes something violent. Beside me, Lily's breath hitched. Jenna's entire body locked. "It's him," Lily whispered. "It's Marcus." I studied the figure, his quietness, his stillness, the way he seemed to occupy space like a dark stain. No movement, no hesitation. Just watching. Waiting. "Stick to the plan," I murmured. "Lily, mic ready. Jenna, camera on. Go." But neither moved. "Go," I repeated sharper. Lily swallowed and backed toward the railing, sliding her phone into the inside pocket of her jacket with trembling hands. Jenna raised hers, thumb fumbling for the recording button. I stepped away from them, moving toward the lobster traps positioned near the storage unit. From here, the pier opened in a long, narrow stretch. No exits except back the way he'd come. He knew that. It didn't seem to bother him. I reached the traps, crouched beside them, and waited. The wind picked up. Salt stung my eyes. Somewhere below us, water slapped against the wood in slow, rhythmic pulses. The figure finally moved. One step, another. Slow, deliberate, heavy. He didn't hide, didn't rush, didn't pretend to be anything but what he was. A threat approaching with absolute confidence. Halfway down the pier, he stopped. "You shouldn't have brought them," he said. His voice was deeper than I expected. Controlled. The kind of voice that didn't have to raise itself to be heard. He lifted his head, and I saw his face. Sharp jaw, dark eyes, expression calm. Too calm. Like someone who believed the world bent around his intentions. Jenna sucked in a breath, so sharply she almost choked. "Marcus," she whispered, the name breaking off in a fear. He didn't look at her, his gaze fixed on me. "You came," he said. "Yes. You weren't supposed to. And yet," I said, stepping forward, "here I am." His eyes flicked to the sides, just once, calculating, measuring distances, exits, weakness. He noticed Jenna's raised phone, saw Lily hugging her arms tighter around herself. "You think this will work?" he asked. "Yes," I said. He smiled, small, almost pitying. "No, it won't." He took another step forward. Jenna gasped. "Stay back." He ignored her. "Let me save you some time," Marcus continued, addressing me as if the other two didn't exist. "You're looking for a neat villain. A clean story. Good and evil. But the truth." He shrugged. "There is no truth. Only leverage. And what exactly do you think you're leveraging now?" I asked. "You." His eyes glinted. "Your fear. Your confusion. Your desperation not to be the fool in the story of your own life." Anger flared, sharp, hot, unwanted. But I didn't show it. Instead, I stepped forward again, closing the distance by 2 feet. He raised a brow, amused. "You're braver than I expected." That wiped the amusement from his face. "You want answers?" he said. "Fine. Ask. You took the original photo from Jenna's house." "Yes." "You followed me home. Watched my apartment." "Yes." "You printed the thread at my door." He tilted his head. "Yes." "You stole the image from inside her drawer." "Yes." "You've been tracking every move we've made." "Yes." Every yes was a knife. Sharp, confident, unashamed. "And you're proud of this?" I asked. He shrugged lightly. "You made it easy." Before I could respond, Lily stepped toward us. "You're sick," she whispered. "You don't get to terrorize people just because Jenna didn't want you." Marcus finally looked at her. Really looked. "You shouldn't be here," he said. "And you shouldn't be alive," she spat. My breath caught. "Lily, stay back." But she didn't. Something inside her, years of watching her sister shrink, snapped. "You ruined her life. You nearly cost her her job. You stalked her. You destroyed her friendships. And for what? Because she didn't want you anymore." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Careful," he said. "No," Lily shot back. "You don't scare me anymore." Marcus stepped toward her. I moved instantly, intercepting the angle, positioning myself between them, so he had to adjust his stance. He didn't like it. His eyes flicked to me again. "You think you're going to save her." "I think you're a coward," I said. His nostrils flared. Big words for someone who doesn't even know her own husband. My stomach dropped. Jenna stiffened behind me. Lily's breath caught. Marcus smiled. "There it is," he murmured. "The part you haven't learned yet." "What part?" I asked, voice steady despite the fist clenching inside my chest. The part where the kiss wasn't the worst thing Adam did. Silence. Cold. Total. You're lying, I said. He laughed. No, wife. Not this time. I stepped forward, but he continued, cutting through my movement like a blade. Do you really think that kiss was the beginning? He shook his head slowly. It was the end. The final chapter of something far more interesting. Lily grabbed my arm. Don't listen to him. He manipulates everything. Ask your husband, Marcus said softly, eyes drilling into mine. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Anger surged through my chest. Hot, trembling, deadly. If you have something to say, I said, say it. He stared at me with a look I couldn't read. Then his voice dropped to a near whisper. Ask him about the night before the kiss. I felt the ground tilt. What night? I asked. His smile twisted. The night he told Jenna he loved her. The world seemed to stop. The water below. The wind. The gulls. Everything froze. Behind me, Jenna gasped. Lily's hand clamped over her mouth. My pulse roared like blood in my ears. You're lying? I whispered. Marcus stepped back. Ask him, he repeated quietly. And when he tells you the truth. He gave a thin, cold smile. Call me. He turned. Walked away. Not running. Not hiding. Just leaving. With the confidence of someone who believed the story wasn't even close to finished. Jenna stared at me, shaking. Lily grabbed my hand. The pier groaned beneath us. But all I could hear were 5 words echoing like iron. The night he loved her. For a long moment, after Marcus disappeared down the pier, no one breathed. The water below whispered against the support beams. Gulls screamed somewhere distant. Dawn light washed the horizon in weak amber flashes. But inside me, nothing moved. The night he loved her. It repeated itself with the rhythm of a heartbeat I no longer recognized. Jenna stepped closer, voice trembling. I swear, that never happened. He never said that to me. But she couldn't look me in the eye. Jenna, I said. She closed her eyes and shook her head. He didn't mean it. He was angry. He was drunk. I held up a hand. Stop, because I already knew. Not the details, not the facts, but the truth that lived in the silence between her words. Adam loved her, or thought he did, once, and that hurt more than the kiss, more than the lies, more than the photograph. Because love wasn't an accident. Love wasn't a mistake. Love wasn't a moment caught on glossy paper. It was deliberate, chosen, devastating. Lily touched my shoulder gently. We don't know if Marcus was telling the truth. He lies. He twists. Not this, I said. You didn't need to. I turned away from the pier's end. My chest felt tight, like grief had curled itself around my lungs. Jenna reached out, desperate. Please, let me explain. You've explained enough. But everything you say now is damage control, I said. Not truth. Tears escaped her eyes. She let her hand fall. I walked past her without another word. Then his voice dropped to a near whisper. Ask him about the night before the kiss. I felt the ground tilt. What night? I asked. His smile twisted. The night he told Jenna he loved her. The world seemed to stop. The water below. The wind. The gulls. Everything froze. Behind me, Jenna gasped. Lily's hand clamped over her mouth. My pulse roared like blood in my ears. You're lying? I whispered. Marcus stepped back. Ask him, he repeated quietly. And when he tells you the truth. He gave a thin, cold smile. Call me. He turned. Walked away. Not running. Not hiding. Just leaving. With the confidence of someone who believed the story wasn't even close to finished. Jenna stared at me, shaking. Lily grabbed my hand. The pier groaned beneath us. But all I could hear were 5 words echoing like iron. The night he loved her. For a long moment, after Marcus disappeared down the pier, no one breathed. The water below whispered against the support beams. Gulls screamed somewhere distant. Dawn light washed the horizon in weak amber flashes. But inside me, nothing moved. The night he loved her. It repeated itself with the rhythm of a heartbeat I no longer recognized. Jenna stepped closer, voice trembling. I swear, that never happened. He never said that to me. But she couldn't look me in the eye. Jenna, I said. She closed her eyes and shook her head. He didn't mean it. He was angry. He was drunk. I I held up a hand. Stop, because I already knew. Not the details, not the facts, but the truth that lived in the silence between her words. Adam loved her, or thought he did, once, and that hurt more than the kiss, more than the lies, more than the photograph. Because love wasn't an accident. Love wasn't a mistake. Love wasn't a moment caught on glossy paper. It was deliberate, chosen, devastating. Lily touched my shoulder gently. We don't know if Marcus was telling the truth. He lies. He twists. Not this, I said. You didn't need to. I turned away from the pier's end. My chest felt tight, like grief had curled itself around my lungs. Jenna reached out, desperate. Please, let me explain. You've explained enough. But everything you say now is damage control, I said. Not truth. Tears escaped her eyes. She let her hand fall. I walked past her without another word. Adam stood beside the car when we returned, his face pale and worried, hands shoved into his jacket pockets. His breath formed small clouds in the cold. You're early, he said, trying for calm. I didn't respond. Lily and Jenna stayed several steps behind me, hovering like ghosts of choices I didn't make. What happened? He asked, voice tight. We talked to Marcus, I said. He stiffened. Is everyone okay? For now. His eyes darted toward Jenna, then quickly away. So he showed up? Yes. What did he say? He asked too quickly. I looked at him, really looked, at the man I married, at the man I trusted, at the man who had been lying long before the kiss. He said you told Jenna you loved her. He froze. His mouth parted, his breath caught, and the truth was in the silence before his denial even reached his lips. Tell me the truth, I said. Right now. No stalling. No excuses. No, it was complicated. Just the truth. He swallowed. Once. Twice. Then, it was one time, I felt something break inside my chest. Not with noise, not with drama, but with a silent, final cracking. When? I asked. The night before the kiss. Why? My voice was calm. Too calm. A calmness formed from the ashes of illusions. I was a mess, he said. I felt lost. We were fighting all the time. I felt like I wasn't enough. I thought Jenna understood me better. Did she? His jaw tightened. Yes. At the time, yes. I let that cut me. It deserved a cut. And you told her you loved her, I said. I thought I did, he whispered. Tears pricked in my eyes, not from sadness, but from grief for a marriage that never was what I believed. A marriage built not on betrayal, but on lies disguised as comfort. And what about me? I asked. He didn't answer. You married me, I said quietly. Did you love me? Adam closed his eyes. I loved who I wanted to be with you. Another break. Not loud, but permanent. And the kiss. I asked. He exhaled shakily. It happened because we were too close to something we never should have touched. I thought ending things with her would fix it. I thought burying it would make it go away. And keeping the photo, I said. He swallowed. I didn't want to forget what I almost ruined us for. That's not an excuse, I said. It's a confession. He nodded, silent, defeated, truthful too late. Behind me, Jenna sobbed, collapsing against Lily's shoulder. The wind whipped her hair across her tear-stained cheeks. But I didn't turn to her. She wasn't my responsibility anymore. Adam took a small step toward me. I'm sorry. I know, I said. But sorry doesn't fix the foundation you destroyed. His voice cracked. Can we try? Please. We can rebuild. No, I said gently. We can't. Why not? Because you never loved me the way I loved you. Because you loved the attention she gave you. Because you kept your truth like a loaded weapon in your pocket. Because I deserve more than being an afterthought in my own marriage. But all I said was, because I'm done choosing people who choose me last. His face crumpled. He fell to his knees, and I walked past him. Later, after Lily drove Jenna home and Adam left in silence, I stood alone in my apartment. The box of photos remained on the table, sharp edges glimmering beneath the overhead light. I reached into the box, grabbed one photo, and held it up. Two people kissing. Two people who lied. Two people who didn't deserve the power they once had over me. I tore it in half, then into fourths, then into eighths. The pieces fluttered to the floor like brittle snow. I grabbed another and tore it too, and another, and another. until the floor was a mosaic of endings. When I reached the last photo, I stopped. Not because I wanted to keep it, not because I wanted to remember, but because the final picture, the one Marcus had taken, reminded me of something important. I survived them. The lies, the betrayal, the stalking, the threat, the manipulation. I stood in the center of my ruin and still breathed. I looked at the last photo, me in the rain, defiant, and whispered, I choose myself. Then I tore that one too. Weeks later, restraining orders were filed. Charges were pressed. Marcus disappeared into the legal system like a ghost caught in a trap. Jenna moved cities. Lily started therapy. Adam moved out and left me a heartfelt letter I never opened. And I bought new locks, signed my own lease, and learned that silence can be beautiful when it belongs to you alone. One afternoon, months later, I walked past a shop window and saw my reflection. No fear, no grief, no fragility, just a woman who set herself free. Not by revenge, not by exposing others, not by clinging to the past, but by choosing a future that didn't require her to shrink. A future where her story belonged to her, and her alone.